There's one sentence, just one, that instantly makes toxic people lose control. And the strange part is, it's not loud, it's not aggressive, and most people are too afraid to ever say it. Because the moment you do, you flip the power dynamic completely. And once that happens, toxic people can't play their usual games with you anymore. You've seen it before. Someone twists your words, plays the victim, pushes your buttons, and suddenly, you're the one defending yourself. You start talking more, explaining more, trying to prove your point, and somehow they're still in control. That's how toxic people win. Not by being right, but by pulling you into their emotional game. Imagine this. You call someone out for something they did. Instead of owning it, they flip it on you. Why are you always overreacting? That's not what I meant. You're too sensitive. Now you're stuck. Do you argue? Do you explain? That's exactly where they want you. Because the moment you react emotionally, you lose leverage. But there's a different move. A quiet one. A controlled one. One sentence that stops everything. No shouting, no arguing, just clarity. You look at them calmly and say, I see exactly what you're doing. That's it. That sentence does something powerful. It doesn't attack them. It doesn't defend you. It exposes the game. And toxic people rely on one thing more than anything else. Hidden intent. They need confusion. They need emotional reactions. They need you to not see clearly. But the moment you say, I see exactly what you're doing, you remove their cover. Now they're not in control anymore. Watch what happens next. They pause, just for a second. You hitting them where it hurts, and immediately they lose control over you. Because they weren't expecting that. Before we continue, take a moment to like and subscribe to the channel for more mind-blowing videos like this. Now, let's break down other ways to disarm toxic people and make them lose control. Move number 1. Putting yourself first. Putting yourself first sounds simple, but for many people, it feels uncomfortable, even wrong. You've been taught to be understanding, to be patient, to consider other people's feelings. So when someone disrespects you, your first instinct isn't distance, it's adjustment. You think, maybe they're going through something. Maybe I misunderstood. Maybe I should explain better. But here's the psychological truth. Toxic people rely on your empathy more than your weakness, because empathy keeps you engaged. Putting yourself first doesn't mean becoming cold or selfish. It means recognizing when your emotional energy is being used against you. It means asking a simple but uncomfortable question. Is this interaction costing me more than it's giving me? When you start prioritizing your peace over their approval, something shifts. You respond less, you observe more, you detach emotionally, and for the first time they feel it, because the version of you they were controlling is no longer available. Move number 2. Don't play the invisible game. Toxic people don't operate randomly. Their behavior follows a pattern, one that depends on emotional reactions. They provoke, then observe. They push, then wait. Not for logic, but for emotion. At first it feels subtle. A small comment, a sarcastic remark, a question that feels slightly off. You respond naturally, you explain, you defend, you try to clarify your intentions. And in that moment, without realizing it, you've stepped into a game that was designed long before you noticed it. The more you engage, the more control they gain. Because now, the conversation is no longer about truth. It's about emotional leverage. They interrupt you, they twist your words, they redirect the conversation, and suddenly, you're no longer in control of yourself. This is why toxic people seem powerful. Not because they are stronger, but because they know how to keep you reacting. But here's the truth. The game only works if you keep playing, and that realization leads to the first shift most people struggle to make. Move number 3. Saying no and walking away. One of the most powerful things you can do is also one of the hardest. Say no. Not aggressively, not defensively, just clearly. Toxic people expect negotiation. They expect hesitation. They expect you to explain yourself. What they don't expect is certainty. When you say no without over-explaining, you remove the space they usually use to manipulate the situation. But the real shift isn't just saying no. It's walking away. Not physically every time, but emotionally. You stop trying to win the argument, you stop trying to prove your point, you stop trying to be understood. And that's when confusion starts to show on their side. Because they're used to resistance, not absence. When there's nothing to push against, their strategy collapses. Walking away isn't weakness, it's control. And it creates a silence that toxic people don't know how to handle. Move number 4, stop trying to fix them. There's a hidden trap many people fall into. The belief that they can change the toxic person. You think if you explain better, if you stay patient, if you show them a different perspective, they'll understand. But toxic behavior isn't a misunderstanding. It's a pattern. And patterns don't change because of explanation. They change because of consequences. When you try to fix someone who benefits from their behavior, you only reinforce it. They learn that no matter what they do, you'll stay. No matter how they act, you'll adjust, and that becomes their safety net. Letting go of the need to fix them is not giving up. It's seeing clearly. You stop investing energy into changing them and start investing it into protecting yourself. And when that shift happens, something unexpected occurs. They lose influence over you because control requires connection, and you're no longer offering it in the same way. Move number 5, become unavailable and setting boundaries. Not every toxic person can be avoided. Sometimes they're in your workplace, your family, your daily environment. And in those cases, distance isn't always physical, it's behavioral. You become less available, you don't respond immediately, you don't engage deeply, you don't offer personal information they can use later. You keep things neutral, control, minimal. At the same time, you set boundaries. Not dramatic ones, not emotional ones, clear ones. This doesn't work for me. I'm not engaging in this. Let's keep this focused. And then you follow through. That's the part most people miss. Boundaries without action are just words. But when you consistently hold them, something shifts in the dynamic. The toxic person starts testing less, pushing less, engaging differently, or not at all, because they can no longer access the version of you they used to control. Finally, here's the truth. Toxic people don't fear loud reactions. They don't fear arguments. They don't even fear confrontation. What they fear is being seen clearly, because once you see the pattern, you stop reacting. You stop explaining. You stop playing. And that's the moment they lose control. If you've ever dealt with someone like this, you already know how exhausting it is. But now, you have a different approach. So next time it happens, don't argue. Don't explain. Just say it once and watch what changes. If you want more content like this on power, psychology, and control, hit subscribe and stay sharp.